welcome to today's edition of Editorials, a broadcast from Canada. My name is Sandra Asante. Today we are looking at what UN aid chief is saying that they should get those trucks moving into the famine-like condition in Tigray of Ethiopia, as well as the rescheduled date of the Ethiopian elections. So don't go anywhere, we'll be back after the break. You're welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for staying with me. We will start off with the United Nations chief's orders. And the United Nations aid chief Martin Griffiths said on Tuesday he assumes famine has taken hold in Ethiopia's Tigray, where a nearly 3-month-long de facto blockade has restricted aid deliveries to 10% of what is needed in the war-torn Tigray region. Griffiths told Reuters during an interview that his request was simple: get those trucks moving. This is a man-made. This can be remedied by the act of government. This is what Griffiths is saying. War broke out 10 months ago between Ethiopia's federal troops and forces loyal to the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, which controls Tigray. Thousands have died and more than 2 million people have been forced to flee their homes. We predicted that there were 400,000 people in the famine-like conditions at risk of famine, and the supposition was that if no aid got to them immediately, they would slip into famine. Graphics is saying this one and referring to the UN's assessment in June. I have to assume something like that is happening, he said, adding that it was difficult to know exactly what the situation was on the grounds in Tigray because of a de facto aid blockade and lack of fuel, cash, and trucks. Ethiopia's UN mission in New York said that any claims on the existence of blockade is baseless. It said aid groups face shortage in trucks as a result of the non-return of almost all trucks that have traveled to Tigray to deliver aid. Truck drivers carry aid into Tigray has been shot at least twice, and some Tigrayan drivers have been arrested in the neighboring region of Afar, although they were later released according to UN reports. Now let's look at the malnutrition, and Griffith said a lot of trucks go into Tigray and don't come back, compounding the humanitarian problems. He said no fuel trucks had gone into Tigray since late July. First of all, they probably don't have fuel to come out, he said, and secondly, they may not wish so the consequences for humanitarian operations, whatever the cause, is problematic. The United Nations in Ethiopia said on September 16th that the only 38 out of 466 trucks that entered Tigray since July 12th had returned. On Tuesday, World Food Programme WFP in Ethiopia posted on Twitter that 61 commercial trucks had left Tigray in recent days, and they are expected more to depart in coming weeks. We will continue to work with transporters to overcome any logistics issue to ensure trucks are on the road, facilitating the delivery of humanitarian aid, WFP Ethiopia said. In Tigray, the United Nations says 5.2 million people, or 90% of the population, need help. According to the United Nations, screening of children under 5 during the first half of September revealed that 22.7% are all malnourished, and more than 70% of some 11,000 pregnant or breastfeeding women are acutely malnourished. As a comparison, this is about the same levels of malnutrition that we saw in 2011 in Somalia at the onset of Somali famine. Griffiths said this one. Griffiths said 10 trucks a day of aid needed to get to Tigray, but only 10% had gained access in the past 3 months. We need the Ethiopian government to do what they promised to do, which is to facilitate access, said Griffiths, who met with Ethiopian Deputy Prime Minister Medeke Kemonen last week during the annual UN gathering of world leaders in New York. Mekonnen assured him that access is provided, but Griffiths said it needs to improve a great deal. more. Now, away from Griffith's orders, we move to the elections, and Ethiopia is holding the second phase of its belated elections this week. However, the embattled Tigray region denies excluded from the polls that have already handed a majority to the ruling Prosperity Party. So on October 5th, 2020, the mandate of the current Ethiopian parliament expired. Planned elections had been postponed officially because of COVID-19 pandemic, sparking swift criticism from opposition parties. That same day, the leaders of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, the dominant party in the country's northern Tigray region, declared they will no longer recognize the authority Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed or federal government, a pivotal point in the ongoing Tigray crisis. The past years has also been an increase in local conflict across the country, including sporadic attack in the vast Oromia region, which has escalated a lot of people to flee away. Meanwhile, the unresolved border issues in Somali region have only added to the climate of resentment, fear, and economic instability. Elections challenged by insecurity and opposition boycott. September 30th, security issues around the country compounded with logistical delays prompted the National Election Board (NEBE) to postpone the polls in 64 constituencies outside Tigray. In Somali region, 3.8 million citizens are registered to cast their ballots, but opposition parties in the area have now decided not to run, claiming they have been subjected to unfair procedures during the candidate and voter registration process. The people who genuinely wanted to vote have been blocked. The chairman of the region's main opposition party, Ogaden National Liberation Front (ONLF), Abdirahim Mahdi, told DW that we complained to NEBE. They said they will look into it. They waited for 3 months and finally they said that everything is fine. They are going to proceed with the same fraudulent procedures, so we decided that it's not worth our effort anymore. But according to NEBE, the boycott has come too late to be effective. We have already disseminated ballot papers for polling, finalized voter education, and other preparations to conduct the elections, explained NEBE Communications Officer Solayana Shimles. Those parties are on the ballot and hence in the race. So yes, they'll be voting in October. This is where I end the editorials for today. My name is Sandra Asante. Thanks for watching. You should have a great day.